Hello everyone, how are you doing? In this video, we're going to start creating the interaction system. So as you can see, we have a trace going on here. So this is how we're going to know what items we are looking at. So if I look to the wall here or to the floor, for example, this is not interactable, so nothing happens. But if I look to this cube, this is interactable, so we have the message in the upper part of the screen. So this is what we're going to do in this video. But before, if you do like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe. That helps me a lot. And let's start creating the system. Okay, so first, as you may remember from the last episode, we created two events on the HUD widget, one to show the interaction message and one to hide it. So first, we need to create those events in the HUD class as well, so we can call this anywhere in the project. And to do this, I will create an interface for the HUD. So let's start by creating the HUD interface. To create the HUD interface, let's go to the Blueprints folder, and here let's create a new folder for the interfaces. So let's name it Interfaces. There we go. Let's open this folder, and inside here let's create the HUD interface. So to do this, right click and go to Blueprint, then Blueprint Interface. So I will name this BPI HUD. So BPI stands for Blueprint Interface, and of course HUD for the HUD. So let's open this here. There we go, and here we need to define all the functions that we need. So for the HUD, now we need two events, one to show the interaction message and one to hide it. So the first function here will be the show interaction message. There we go. And as you may remember, this needs an input, so let's add an input here. Let's add one for interaction message. There we go, and this needs to be a text, so there we go. Let's compile here and save, and let's create a new one. So just click on this add here function, and this new one will be the hide interaction message function. There we go, and this doesn't need any input or output. So let's compile and save. And now that we created this interface, we just need to add this interface in the HUD class and start implementing those functions. So let's do this. Okay, so to add this interface in the HUD class, let's go back to the folders here and let's open the HUD class. So let's go to Bases, Main, HUDs, and let's open the BP main HUD. Let's open this, and now we need to add the interface. So to do this, go to Class Settings, and here we have the implemented interfaces. Just click on add here and start typing the name of the interface. So BPI HUD, there we go. And as soon as we add this interface here, we have the functions here in the interfaces category. We have the functions to start implementing. So let's start with the show interaction message. So to implement this, you just need to double click it. So just double click. There we go. And we have the event on the graph. So this is the event that we're gonna call from anywhere in the project. So when we call this event, we need to show the interaction message inside the HUD widget. So let's get a reference to the HUD widget here, and it is in this variable. So let's just get this, and we created this variable in the first episode. So we are setting the value here after creating the HUD, as you can see, the HUD widget. So now we have a reference to the widget here. So from the reference, we can call the show interaction message function. So this one, the call function show interaction message. So let's select this. Let's connect the execution pin, and let's pass the interaction message here. There you go. So this is the show interaction message function. So let's comment this. So I will select those nodes here and press C on the keyboard to comment, and I will comment show interaction message. There we go. So now let's start implementing the hide interaction message as well. So let's double click on this function. There we go. Let me put this event here. And from this is really simple. So from the HUD here, the HUD widget, we just need to call the hide interaction message event. So let's drag this and call the hide interaction message. Again, this one from the call function category. So just select this and connect the execution pin. And there we go. Let's comment this. Let me comment hide interaction message. There we go. So now we have a way of communicating with the HUD without having to cast. So we have an interface to do this communication. So now we can start creating the component for the interaction. So let's do this. Actually, before creating the interaction component, let's create two more interfaces because I'm going to need those interfaces to create the interaction system. So let's go back to the folders here. Let's go to the interfaces folder and let's create one interface for the player. So everything that I will need with the player, I will use this interface to get the informations. So let's right click, go to blueprint and blueprint interface. I will name this BPI layer. There we go. Let's open this interface, and for now I just need one function. So this function, I will use this function to get the camera of the player because I will create this system in a component, so I will not have a reference to the camera, so I need to get this reference. So let's create the function get camera. There we go, and this function will have one output. So let's create this, and this will be the camera. So let's name it camera, and the type of this will be camera component. So just type camera component here. Let me type it, camera component. There we go, camera component. Let's get an object reference for this, and now we can compile and save. So let's implement this interface in the player blueprint. So let's go back to the folders here and let's open the player blueprint. So let's go to bases, main, characters, and let's open the BP main character. There we go. So same as the HUD class, we just need to go to class settings, and here in the implemented interface we need to add one. So just click here in add and start typing BPI, and let's add the BPI player interface. There we go. Now we have the interface, the function get camera here in the interfaces category. So now we just need to double click on this to implement this function. So let's double click. There we go. And when we call this function, I just need the camera reference. So let's get the follow camera here. Let's get a reference and let's return this reference here. There we go. So now we can get this reference from anywhere in the project. We just need to call this interface in an object reference for the character. So now let's create another interface. This interface will be for the interactable things. So let's go back to the folders here. Let's go back to the interfaces folder, and here let's create a new one. So go to blueprint interface. I will name this BPI interactable. So basically everything that will be interactable in the game will have this interface. So for now I just need to create the interface so we have the class to use. So now that we have the class, let's start creating the interaction component. Okay, so let me close these tabs here. There we go. So now let's go back to the blueprints folder and let's create a new folder here. So right click, go to new folder, and I will name this folder components. So every component will be in this folder. So let's enter this folder, and now let's create the interaction component. So right click, go to blueprint class, and let's create an actor component. There we go. So I will name this BPC for blueprint component, and I will name this interaction. There we go. So let's open this and start implementing. So let me put here, there we go, and I will start in the begin play. So let's delete this event tick here. So first I need to get the reference for the camera. So every component in Unreal has a node that we call get owner. So this node returns the owner of this component. So here we have the reference for the character because I will put this component on the character. So here is the character. So normally, basically you need to cast to the character. So from here, you just type cast to BP main character like this. right? And you have the character reference here. So from here you can get the follow camera. If we scroll down here, as you can see, we have the follow camera here, but I don't need and I don't want to do a cast here because I have an interface. So let's delete this cast, and from this reference we can just call the get camera event that we created in the interface. So as you can see here in the class BPI player, we have the get camera interface. So let's just call this, and if this object implements this interface, we will have the camera here. So let's connect this execution pin here in the get camera function. And now I just need to store this reference in a variable. So let's go here in the variables, let's create one, and I will name this camera. And the type of this will be camera component. So let's type camera component here. There we go. And now we just need to set this variable. So let's set here with this camera value here. There we go. So now we have the reference for the camera inside the component for the interaction. So now let's create the function that will look for objects in the world. So let's do this. Okay, so let's create a new function here. So let's click on this plus icon in this functions tab. So let's click on this plus to add a new one, and I will name this look. There we go. So the first thing that I need to do here is see if this camera is a valid reference. So let's get this camera here, and let's right click on this and convert to validate get. There we go. So with this we can know if this is a valid reference or if not. So from this is valid, I first need to do a trace. So I need to do this trace from the camera. So let's right click and start typing sphere trace by channel. So let's get this one, sphere trace by channel. There we go. So let's connect from this is valid here. Let's connect on the execution pin. And first I need a start position. So the start position will be the camera position. So from the camera reference here, let's drag and let's type get world location. There we go. So this is the start position. Let's connect here. And for the end position, we need to get a little bit more. So from the camera, first let's get the world rotation of this camera. So let's drag here and type get world rotation. There we go. And from the world rotation, I need to get the forward vector. So from this, let's type get forward vector. There we go. So now that we have the forward vector, I need to multiply this with some distance. So let's create a new variable here. Let's click on this plus, and I will name this variable interaction distance. So this will be the interaction distance that the player can interact with things. So let's name interaction distance. There we go. And this will be a float. And by default, I will put here maybe 450. There we go. And now we just need to multiply this forward vector with this float here, with the interaction distance. So from this, let's drag and type multiply. There we go. Let's connect this float here. And now I just need to add this vector here with this world location. So from this world location, let's drag and type add. There we go. And let's connect this vector here. So this is the end position of this trace by channel. So let's connect the end here. So from the radius, I will put 2 maybe here. Let's test if this is okay. And for now, let's here in the draw debug type, let's change this for duration. There we go. So let's compile and save. And now we just need to call this function to test this. So to call this, let's go back to the event graph here. And I will not call this function in the event tick because I don't need to call this like every frame. I just need to call this like a certain amount of times. So let's go back to the event graph here, and from this set here, let's drag and type set timer by function name. There we go. So here in the function name, you need to type the exactly name of the function that you created. So for me is look like this. There we go. And I will call this function every 0.1 second, right? And of course we need to check this looping here. So every 0.1 seconds I will call this function and do everything here. So now that we created this, let's compile and save, and let's add this component to the character to test this. So let's go back to the folder here. Let's open the character. So let's open the BP main character here. And here in the components, we can just click on add and start typing BPC. There we go. So we have the BPC interaction here. Let's add this, compile and save. And now if you go back and hit play, as you can see, we have a trace that is doing from the camera to the world, as you can see. So now we have a way to look for things. So as you can see, the ray is red when we are not hitting nothing. So when I hit something, as you can see, the ray starts being green. So that's good, that's what we need. So let's continue implementing the interaction system. Okay, so let's go back to the interaction component here and let's open the look function. So from here, from this sphere trace by channel, as you can see, we have some informations here. So first we have this return value. This is a boolean, so let's connect this in a branch like this. There we go. And if this is true, that means that we hit something. And of course, if we don't hit, this will be false. So if we hit something, I need to know if what we are looking is an interactable thing. So let's drag from this out here and let's break this. There we go. So here we have every information about what we are hitting with this trace here. So from this we have the hit actor, so the actor that we are looking at. So I need to know if this actor is an interactable thing. And to do this, we created the interactable interface. So everything in the game that will be interactable will have the interactable interface. So I can, from this hit actor here, I can call does implement interface. So I can ask if this actor implement some interface. So here in the interface, let's select the BPI interactable. So again, this is a boolean, so let's connect this in a branch like this. There we go, and let's connect from the true here. So if we hit something, this will be true. So now I'm asking if what we hit is interactable. So if it is interactable, this will be true. So now if this is true, let's start showing the interaction message to the player. So let's create this part now. Okay, so to show the interaction message, first we need to have the interaction message in some place. So for this system, I will put the interaction message on the interactable item. So every interactable item will have an interaction message to show to the player. So how can we get this message? So because every interactable item will implement the interactable interface, we can create a function on this interface to get this message. So let's do this. Let's go back to the folders here and let's go to interfaces folder and let's open the interactable interface. So here in this new function, let's rename this to get interaction item, or interaction message actually, get interaction message, and of course this will have an output. So let's create one here and let's name this interaction message. There we go, and this will be the type of text. So now let's compile and save, and let's go back to the interaction interface, the interaction component actually. So of course, if we hit something, this will be true, and if what we hit is interactable, this will be true as well. So if this is true, that means that this actor implements the interactable interface, so that means that from this we can call the get interaction message here, this function from the interactable interface. So let's call this and let's connect this on the true here. There we go. Let's add a reroute here to organize a little bit more. There we go. So now we have the message here to show in the screen. So let's do this. Okay, so to show this to the player, as you may remember, we created the show interaction message event and hide interaction message event in the HUD class, in the base HUD class. So because we created this in this base HUD class here, we can access this easily from anywhere. So how can we access this? So let's go back here to the interaction component, and here let's type get layer controller. So the HUD is inside the player controller like this, and from this we can get the HUD. So from this return value, let's type get HUD. There we go. And normally you will need to cast, so from this you will need to cast to BP main HUD like this, and you will have the HUD here. But I don't want to do any casting, so we created an interface for this. So let's delete this class, and from this get HUD we can directly call the show interaction message from the HUD interface. As you can see, so we have the BPI HUD interface here, we have the show interaction message. So let's call this interface here, let's connect here, and this asks for an interaction message, and of course we get this in this interface here, in the interactable interface. So let's connect the interaction message here in the show interaction message, and of course everything that will happen here we implemented in the last episode and in the beginning of this episode. So now this message will show in the screen. So what I need to do now, I need to add this actor here as a variable. So I need to store this actor as a variable, so later we can interact if we press E on the keyboard. So to store this, let's create a variable here. So let's add one, and I will name this cur interactable actor. So actor here, there we go. Let me rename cur interactable actor. There you go. So cur from current, so current interactable actor, and this will be the type of actor. So let's just set this as actor object reference. Let's compile and save, and let's set this after showing the message here. So let's set this variable here like this, and the value here will be this one. So from this we can drag and connect here, and let me add a new reroute here so we can organize this code a little bit better. There we go. So now we are showing the message if we are looking to something that it is interactable. So now we need to hide the message if we are not looking to something here, or if what we are looking is not interactable. So we need to implement this false case here. So from this false we need to hide the message. So let's copy this get player controller and get HUD here. So let me copy this and paste up here like this. And now from this get HUD we can call the hide interaction message event from the BPI HUD interface. So let's call this, and let's connect from this false here and from this false here. So basically if we are not looking to something, or if what we are looking is not interactable, so we need to hide the interaction message, and we need to clean this reference here. So the current interactable actor, we need to clean this. So to clean, you just need to set this. So let's set, and we don't need to pass anything here. So this will be null. And there we go. This is basically the look function. This will show and hide the message in the screen depending on what item we are looking at. So let's test if this is working now. Okay, so to test this, of course, we don't have the items yet. So let's compile and save, and let's create a test actor here so we can test this. So let's go back to the blueprints folder here, and here I will right click and go to blueprint, and let's create an actor here just to test this. So I will name this BP test like this. Let's open this, and for now let's just add a cube here. So to add a cube, let's go to add here in the components and let's type cube. Let's add one. Let me put a little bit higher here. There we go. And now we just need to add the interactable interface to this actor. So let's go to class settings here. And here in the implemented interface, let's add the interactable interface like this. There we go. And now we just need to implement the get interaction message. So let's open this. And this is where we have the message. So let me put here maybe collect cube like this. So as you may remember from the last episode, we have a static part of the message, which is E2, and the next part is dynamic. So when I put collect cube here, the final message will be E2 collect cube. So let's test this. Let's compile and save. There we go. Let's put this on the level here like this. And now let's hit play and see if this is working. So as you can see, we have the raise here, the trace. And if we look to the wall here or to the floor, nothing happens because this is not interactable. And if we look to these cubes here, of course, this is not interactable as well. But if we look to this cube, as you can see, we have the message in the upper part of the screen, E to collect cube. And if we look away, the message hide itself, as you can see. So everything is working just fine. So now we have this part working. Now we just need to implement when we press the E key to interact with something in the world. So there we go. This is basically done. But I will not do the interaction part in this video. So when we press the key to interact, I will not do this in this video because to do this, we need to implement a lot more in the system. So I will do this later in the series. So this is basically it for this video. We created a way to show the interaction message depending on what item we are looking at. So in the next video, we will start importing the items itself, and we will start creating the items database so we can use in the game. So if you do like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe so you don't lose any new content. And as always, thank you for watching, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next video.